PMP live debates. Men are the reason women are overweight and obese. Oh wow. This is a debate, guys, so make sure y'all watch the whole video, man. This should be very interesting. We got my man, the Poor Man's Podcast, and we got this black woman named Imuna. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, you know what I'm saying? But basically, they're going to be debating as to if men are the reason women are overweight and obese. You get what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna waste our time. We gonna hop straight into the video.
How are you? I've been seeing the videos and I've been commenting because I'm trying to figure out the argument. Before you can debate, you have to have what is the statement? What are we debating? And that's where it kind of gets confusing with all of the videos that's on YouTube. It's like, what is your position before we can say, okay, come and debate me? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. So what I want is for black men and black women to both be held accountable for their actions. Historically speaking, I believe that black men have and are doing better. On the women's side, though, it's a little bit more questionable. According to the statistics, in the 70s, the rate of out of wedlock births was 23%. That rate has now skyrocketed to 78%. You know, these are stats that we all know. But we can't go further as a community until we build economics. And the best way to build group economics right now is marriage or unionship. So if the women are have a distaste for the men because they believe that they're better than the working class because they're the ones getting the degrees, which, by the way, if you're a professional woman, you are your chances of get 70% of professional women are single, okay? Because they have a disdain or a distaste for the working class men. So basically, my goal is to get people together to build group economics so that a lot of the problems that black people are complaining about, we don't have to worry about because we have the money to deal with the situation.
Okay, so you want the goal is unification.
Yes.
In a simplified version. And the thought process is that the videos, the commentary is supposed to show women the error in their ways, and then this will bring up, they will humble themselves and then become unified. Is that the goal?
Well, some part of it is just to warn some women before certain things happen. I believe that a lot of the videos that I do, them women are gone. All right, a lot of them women in the videos, these are extreme cases and they're out of the window. But it is to warn women in the future because I don't believe the conversations being had to black women of their options before they carry a baby to term. There's no way you can have a 78% out of wedlock rate unless somebody doesn't know something. And they have many options. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the videos, yes, the commentary is to get a conversation going so that people can understand that women have to be held.
Let's just be real, man. Most of the females in today's generation are lost cause. Like he just said, most females, they have sex out of wedlock. Most females are against marriage. These are the same type of females that end up as single mothers. These are also the same type of females that end up being whores and sluts throughout their 20s. And then when they get to their mid-30s to 40s and they want that good guy that they want to settle down with to get that, you know, that provider, that security that they want. You get what I'm saying? By that time, the good guy doesn't want them anymore because, I mean, you didn't pay them no mind in your early 20s because you wanted to be a hoe. You wanted to be a whore. You wanted to be with the thuggish guy. You wanted to be with the street dude that's out and about committing crimes and selling drugs for money. And you wanted to be around that type of dude. But the dude that's actually going about it the legit way, the dude that's actually grinding his ass off to get to where he want to be in life, the dude that's in school working his butt off, you know what I'm saying, just to, you know, chase his dreams and his goals, you don't pay him no mind. It's sad, man. That's the sad reality we live in, man.
Accountable to, because we're saying that it's just the men in our community that have the problem, but a lot of the problems are coming from the women that aren't being talked about because you can't talk to women nowadays.
I mean, I would agree that both parties should be held accountable, but for something that's tangible, speaking about birth rates, right? What is the perspective on what sex is for? What is the purpose? Because if the accountability is being put on the woman, there are many things that she can do. Some of those things include killing and aborting, right? So if the very basis of which men are pursuing women that gets them into that they agree to come into positions to where they humble themselves before wedlock, we have to look at who is doing the causative action, who is going towards these women and wanting to humble them in a way in which is going to make them this statistic. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Is the woman pursuing the man, or is the man pursuing the woman, even if it's not for commitment, if he just wants to lay with her?
Oh, I'm sure it's the men pursuing the women on most cases.
Okay.
I have no whim about that. But women have the selective choice to choose who they want to lay down with, and not only that, they have the selective choice to choose who they want to carry the term with. Exactly. And when I say that, I don't mean that they don't have options before. Obviously, you have birth control, which should be spoken about more in our community. You have condoms. If you don't want to use birth control, you can use condoms. If you don't want to use condoms, you have Plan Bs. So a lot of people go straight to abortion, but that's an extreme case. You don't need to go all the way that far if you know your options before. And if you don't want to carry a baby to term, I don't believe you should be laying down with the men anyway. And I don't believe the men should be laying down with the women either.
Okay, that's kind of where I wanted to see. If we're going to talk about how we move forward in unity, we have to find places that we connect and agree. So it has to be some foundation laid. Sex is for fill in the blank. And if we can't agree on that's going to show why there's so much confusion. If it's for procreation and building generational wealth and bringing forth children, then it shouldn't be just thrown all around the place because it's Tuesday. Right. You understand what I'm saying? But that's what's happening. What's happening is people are speaking out of two sides of the mouth. On one side, pumper and dumper, and on the next side, it's your fault because you had a baby. Right? It's not making sense. I don't think we're connecting the act with the statistics or the thought process with the statistics.
The problem is there's a misconception that a minority of men are out to impregnate women and not take care of their children. A minority of black men. That's something that black men do. And it's just not true. Okay, that's just not true. What we have is a small minority of black men that are going out and getting a lot of women pregnant. Okay.
Wait. Come again. I'm sorry. Come again. I want to follow you on this. So you're saying that all of these statistics that we hear about, this is a small minority of men that's impregnating the larger pool of women?
Absolutely. About 50. I believe about 50% of men or black men are single and don't have any children. We couldn't say anything about black women.
Here's a question to ask a lot of people who may be listening is how many men, when they were younger, accidentally impregnated a woman and asked her to get an abortion? Right? Because that happens, right?
See, here's the thing. I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying that asking a woman to get abortion is good. I believe that is an extreme example that if both parties know their options beforehand, they can negate that risk. That's a very extreme option. That's why I don't even really like to talk about abortion, because if you've been proactive in what you're doing, if you know you're sleeping around with bums, and if you're a bum and you're...
Y'all already know how I feel about abortion. I think it's evil. I think it's disgusting. And me personally, I'm against it. And y'all already know how I feel about it. If you're pro-abortion and you're watching this, I'm not judging you. I don't agree with your methods, obviously, but if you're okay with killing babies, then do you. But that's just not how I look at it, you know what I'm saying? And I just wholeheartedly disagree with that, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like if you're a person that is so willing to kill a baby, you should not be having sex at all. You shouldn't be having sex at all. You know what I'm saying? If you're willing to go to the extreme case, which is abortion, if you're willing to go that far to not have a baby or to not have to worry about taking care of a baby, you don't need to be having sex. It's just that simple. You need to keep your legs closed. For the woman, you need to keep your legs closed. And as for the dudes, stop sleeping around with multiple girls. But realistically speaking, most people are not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we will always continuously have people having sex out of wedlock, less people will get married, and so on. You know what I'm saying?
Women have birth control. Men don't have a birth control. Not that I know of, at least.
I want to say years ago, are you familiar with Dr. Childress? The one who talks about... Okay, he talks about he did a documentary. He's talking about black abortion in the black community. I spoke to him many years ago because there's not a lot of conversation in the community around the amount of abortion and what's really going on. If we're going to have the single mother statistics, we also need to have the conversation on the other side. For instance, Chili from TLC, she shared a story.
But
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I think you're just missing the whole point. You don't have to go to the extreme of abortion if we're having conversations with our daughter that tells them, take birth control. Are you sexually active? Take birth control. I don't recommend you become sexually active because we know that the more partners you have before marriage, the less
Right.
likely your marriage is to last. So I don't
That's
recommend
correct.
you do it. But if you decide to do it, let's get you on some birth control.
Can
Let,
I ask the birth control? What? When you said the woman is not, you said that earlier. Women in society are not being held accountable. She's being held accountable for not conceiving. When she's taking that birth control, it's affecting her body. It's increasing the chances of her having cancer, right? All of these things. We talk about statistics health wise. Uh-oh. Essentially, I was speaking about the birth control and saying the woman should take responsibility. That affects her body, that affects her biology, and it exposes her to different kinds of cancers because of what the birth control pill does. So essentially, when you take sex out of the confines of marriage, you're introducing all of what you're talking about.
No, yeah,
That the issues
disagree.
that
No,
prevail within our community.
here's the thing. I agree with you.
All
I
right.
agree that people shouldn't be doing it before marriage in the first place. But if you are doing it before marriage, don't be getting pregnant and carrying the baby to term. If you want to go out and mess with men that you shouldn't be messing with, these are risks you're trying to take. And the problem is that we because I've heard this argument before when they talk about cancer, right? When they talk about the possibility of cancer through birth control. Um, why don't we ever talk about the possibility of dying of a heart disease from the 80% obesity rate, which is the number one killer of black women? You know what I mean? Like, why do we only talk about the future potential effects of something when it's birth control? You know, like,
It's not really
you see where I'm going?
it's not really future. The, black women constitute a large number of people who are dying from cancers, various types of cancers. Heart disease.
Yeah, and whose fault is that? Just be real. Whose fault is that? Are you gonna blame it on science? The reason why a lot of or most black women die from cancer is because, let's just be real, they don't take care of themselves. They don't eat the best of foods. They don't eat healthy. They don't work out. You get what I'm saying? It's just that simple. Most black women are unhealthy and eat unhealthy foods. Don't work out. They eat junk food all the time. Most of them probably smoke cigarettes or smoke weed. Like, come on, bro. And then y'all want to act surprised when y'all have cancer and all of that. Well, what did you expect? You wasn't taking care of yourself when you were younger. You wasn't. Why all of a sudden now you're surprised that you have all these diseases? It's because you wasn't taking care of yourself when you were younger. You have to take accountability. You have to.
Disease is also an issue. I'm not a proponent for people being overweight. It's like apples and oranges. We can put both of it on the table. It's all an issue.
Right, but where in the mainstream media outside of the black manosphere are these conversations being had?
Which ones?
The ones that we're having now. When we talk about these options before pregnancy, and we say women close your legs, don't be having men going in and out of you, and when we say obesity rate, the 80% obesity rate is the number one killer of black women in America right now. Like, where are these conversations happening? And this is why I question the amount of accountability that our women are receiving and how they're taking it. Because when we say this, we're somehow like your enemy. When
no, I don't
really
think.
just things that,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
when it's really just things that are helping you, like in terms of the feedback. Because I would admit, black men for a while and still do need criticism. And I always say black men should do better, but we actually have and are doing better. But we can't work with a 70% out of wedlock rate. We just can't do it. We can't work with 80% of women being unattractive because they're obese. It's not something we're trying to do.
Here's one thing, and I know my phone is about to go out, but This is my thoughts. I did a video yesterday on what Sir Mix-a-Lot did to the culture, right? And how that song when we got back went to the world platinum, the Billboard, and created a certain thought process, right?
Her sound
Okay.
quality is
Then people
trash.
fed into this, and it got out of control. And now the same men who were propagating it on one side, they're on the other side saying, "Oh no, you're wrong for X, Y, and Z." Do you
So
understand what I'm saying? So when we talk about accountability, I'm
are we
sorry.
accounting, are we equating the rate with the song Baby Got
No,
Back or whatever the
what
song
I'm
is?
equating is the culture that men set up at a certain point in time, and the things that the women fed into. And now that it has gotten out of hand, those sons of those men or those children are now on the other hand saying, wait a minute, but if we're going to be honest, we have to connect the two. That this behavior didn't just come from nowhere.
Right, but
Do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah, but at the end of the day, regardless of where, but this is the lack of accountability. What I'm talking about. As soon as there's a problem amongst black women, we go right back to the men, and we say that
You
it's
have
because of
to.
the men. But no, that's just not true. It's
You
simply
have to.
not
We're
true.
connected.
When you talk
We're
about
connected. You have to.
how in the world black women in 2021 ain't nobody listening to Baby Got Back no more, but a lot of people got
Yes,
a lot
they
back.
are. The man is still making $2,000 a day of royalties.
Mm.
Come on, man. We can't do. Come on now. We gotta. All right. I appreciate you for coming on. I like what you was doing. You put it out there. But yes, I am about unity. Okay, so I do love the sisters out there, and I do hope that y'all know black men and black women get together and build economics. That's what I'm all for. But I appreciate you.
Listen.